This is an extremely long video because I break down every part of Tyson Foods. If you're interested, watch the whole thing. If you don't have time, here are the pay stubs. Shout out to Alexander. Thank you so much for all the pay stubs, but I just put it into about 4 pay stubs. I want to give it average. So somewhere between $900 to about $1,500 a week is what he's getting paid net. Yes, that comes with benefits. And yes, you can get a job like this, possibly be home, dedicated routes, right away. So look at these pay stubs, pause the video. Hopefully you like it. Subscribe to the channel because that's what we do. We give you the information you need. If you'd like to see the rest of the video, watch an old interview I did before. I'll have links as well. Appreciate you guys. See you guys tomorrow. If you want to make the maximum optimum amount of money as a company driver, you'd want to work for a private fleet. Now, what's a private fleet? A private fleet is basically a company that hauls their own stuff. So Walmart, they have their guys that haul their own stuff. Well, there's other companies that haul Walmart trailers as well, but you're not going to get paid like a Walmart truck driver. Same as with Publix, same as with Target, same as with Tyson Foods. And so most of these companies, you're going to look at it and say, hey, it's going to take years. There's probably some kind of union. There's probably some kind of seniority base. And I'm not going to be able to get on unless I have experience. Well, that is true. 99.9% of the chance. But here's the thing. There's one company that I know of right now, and I am not sponsored by them, that will help you get in right out of trucking school. Let's talk about Tyson Foods. Today, we're going to talk about the pay stubs for Tyson Foods. But about a year ago, I got an opportunity to interview this truck driver that's been doing it for 30 plus years. He's happy, he's excited, and he wasn't sponsored or paid to say any of these things. He was just giving up some game. That's it. When someone that has 30, 40 plus years that's been doing this longer than I've been alive gives you something, you might listen a little bit. But right here, up here somewhere, you're going to see a link and you can watch that interview. But today, we're talking about the pay stubs. So, tell me your story of how you found Tyson, sir.
Well, I was an owner-operator. Blew my truck up in Moriarty, New Mexico, and didn't have the money to put a new motor in it. So I sold the truck for junk. Told my wife, I'm going to go to work for Tyson because Tyson raises and sells chicken, and it's the cheapest meat on the market. And no matter what the economy does, people still got to eat. So I figured I'd have a job. So here I am.
I love that.
I don't wanna waste time. Remember tonight I found something here with you.
So how do you find a job and be as happy as the person that I interviewed at Tyson Foods? Most trucking jobs, you're going to have to get years of experience before you could jump onto a company like that. Well, here's the cool part. You actually can start at Tyson's right off the gate after trucking school. Shout out to you, Alexander. Thank you so much for your pay stubs. He shares his journey and what that's like, and he wants to give a shout out to Caldwell Community College Trucking School for giving him the tools he needs, and he likes the show. And if you like to learn more about trucking and get the information right off the gate and get the pay stubs so you can make a sound decision, subscribe to the Asian Mai Show. But thank you so much, Alexander. Let's get into these pay stubs and let's learn a little bit more about Tyson Foods and the requirements so you can find a job. Yes, you most likely will start out OTR, but that's where most people do. But you want your best foot forward. So let's start on this journey and let's jump into this. Alright, so let's go through these texts and let's see what the heck is going on with Tyson. So Alexander starts texting me and we start getting into conversation about the company. And he says, hey, I'm a follower on your channel. I would like to expose some Tyson food pay stubs. I'm 23 years old and this is my first OTR company reefer job. So you already know me. I wanted some pay stubs. I was like, Alexander, can you shoot over some pay stubs? And he texts me back and says, okay, will do. My name is Alexander. I also started hauling chickens on Monday. Local, home every day. $22.43 an hour. So this is an hourly paid jobs. And most local jobs, they are going to be hourly. You know, after that, I start asking about his journey from the beginning, and he says that he did school for 9 weeks, cost him about $13.83, $500 scholarships. He paid in full, drove 10 speeds, so no restrictions on CDL other than glasses. I also got my tanker hazmat endorsements during school as well. So if you look, you should follow suit. I think this is always great. Always try to get your license with no restrictions. And if you can, get them with all the endorsements, because it's going to help you get paid more. So I truly believe that if you got more tools in your toolbox, you have an opportunity to make more money. So Alexander sends me a picture of his truck, and so this is, I guess, his old truck. Looks like a Volvo that he's driving in this one. So I asked him, is this really his first job that he ever applied for? Because private fleets are usually pretty hard to get into. And the crazy thing is, he actually says, yes, I did at the beginning of the year. I waited. I applied for Schneider and Maverick, but due to financial reasons, I couldn't wait too long. So I went with Tyson Foods because they gave him a call back within 2 days of applying. So that's crazy that it's a private fleet company and he actually got a call back from them first versus the other big mega carriers. That's insane to me. And you know what? You made the right choice, man. I was like, dude, okay, send me your pay stubs, you know, and he sends an image, a sneak peek, and this is just for 1 week. And that's what, October 1st. So that is really, really updated recently, and that's what we want for the show. We want to give you information that is now, not something that was 20 years ago, because things change every year. And basically for this week paycheck, he made $1,595.48. So, you know, I'm not sure how much taxes, what benefits and all of this is taken out of it, but you know, there you go, $1,500 for the week net pay. That ain't bad, especially for your first job. So I start texting Alexander and I say, dude, walk me through a typical day at work when you start your shift, just so that people kind of get an idea. And this is what he says. So he says, I've been currently running nighttime, getting 600 to 700 miles in. Basically start my driving 6:30 to 6 a.m. Mainly drop and hooks, but I like doing Walmart, Target deliveries as well. Always on time. When I get to a Tyson plant loaded, they check me in. If I don't have anything after delivery, I'll take my 10-hour break. He starts giving us some tips so that you could be successful there. He says, always make sure you have enough hours to make it to delivery. I only at least had to off-duty PC once, but I was already at the location, was authorized to do so. I like running my clock out. I use TruckPath app to trip plan. There it is. So TruckPath, that is a very good application. I use that as well. I like their parking system. But for most people, look, he uses an app that's going to help. And I'm not sponsored by TruckPath, but check them out, man. They actually have really good information on their app. So I asked him, I said, look, it sounds like a pretty cool place, especially for your first job. You know, where the hell do you go to apply? And basically, he says they have positions on the East Coast and Midwest as far as Oklahoma. I'm out of the Wilkesboro, North Carolina terminal. My average pay month is $5,000. Like every company though, you'll have to slow weeks and you'll have great weeks. So he's keeping it real. So it's not always $5,000, but definitely he's making a G a week. And of course they have different routes and they have different fleets and for their areas. He says he's at a good fleet, I guess fleet 2500. So shout out to fleet 2500. When asked about benefits, he says they have 401k, great benefits for private fleets. So, yep, you get benefits and, you know, that's what you need because at the end of the road, man, you need some backup because we are going to get older and you need a way to make some money, especially a way to leverage. And if you got some cool ass benefits at the end of this, then it might help you out. So I asked the question, I say, so is it better to go there with no CDL, ask for a job, or go to CDL school first? He would say go to CDL school first and get your certificate and then apply. You'll be with the trainer for 6 weeks. You know, I asked him, should they just go to Tyson.com, foods or whatnot? And he actually says, go to the Workday app. and that is an app that they called them back right away. So Tyson Foods probably works very closely with Workday app, and a lot of trucking companies do as well. I just want to show you guys the interface of the Workday app. So if you get the opportunity, that's what it looks like. So you can apply on that. So when you're brand new, he actually gives some info. Some of the cons more is you'll be slip seating for the first 2 weeks, like he did, but after that 2 weeks, you get your own truck. So slip seating is you're sharing a truck with someone. So you gotta take your stuff out, you gotta put your stuff in. It's super annoying, but you could do it for 2 weeks. I asked them what kind of trucks do they have there, because equipment is very important. If they have really bad old equipment, it's gonna break down all the time, and you're not gonna get your hours in, you're not gonna get your miles in. So he tells me they run Volvos, KWs, Freightliners, and Internationals. He really feels like there's not that many cons, He's as long as you have a good relationship with the dispatcher, you'll be good. So if you don't, then that's when the cons start happening. Even though he has the capability of coming home all the time, he goes out longer. He stays out and gets about 2,600 miles a week. He did have a breakdown, and he's talking about that in a T680 in Larry, Texas, and the turbo went out. Well, for that week, they paid him $600 that week for that breakdown. So they try their best to help you out, to get you where you need to go and you don't go broke. Because there's a lot of companies, when you have a big breakdown and you're down for 2 or 3 days, they don't compensate you right. They try to give you an extra $50 a day or something like that, and that's not going to pull it, you know what I mean? So he's just giving an example of this, and I think that's pretty awesome, man. Of course, it could always be more, but at least they're trying their best to take care of you. So I asked, where does Tyson Foods mostly run? And he said they mostly run to Denver, Colorado, nothing past Colorado at the moment, and up to Wisconsin and Minnesota for Upper Maine and Florida. Let dispatch know your plant before heading back out or within 2 weeks of wanting to get back home. They're good at getting you back home, especially for emergencies. So that's awesome. So he's been in a couple situations where he's needed to be home, and they got him home right away. And so overall, this sounds like a really good situation to work at, man, especially for a private fleet and being your first company. It seems like they have different fleets within the company, but you could be regional, you could be home, you could be OTR. I'm not going to say which one you could get, but look, I interviewed a driver that's been there for like 30 years, and he loves it. He probably gets paid the maximum amount of money, probably doesn't have to drive that far, and plus he probably gets the best hours and weekends off. But he had to work his ass off to get to that level. But to start you out making 4 to 5 G's, take home a month with 401k and benefits, there's nothing wrong with that, man. So I appreciate you, Alexander, so much for this information, and I hope this does you well. You get the info you need. Again, not sponsored by these people, but I just want to let you guys know, man, if I had to redo this, I would go with the private fleet. Maybe it's not Tyson, but I would look for a private fleet.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.